Right.
It's awesome. Alright, looks like everything is live. Everything's looking good here. So we'll begin the show in just a moment. So you got one of the lighter colored masks. I got two of them. My swag bag's around here somewhere. One of them's like a darker, more reddish tone. The other one's a little bit more of a pale sort of color.
Yeah, mine's really pale looking.
Yeah.
It
They're-
does. It doesn't have hardly any kind of red in it.
Yeah, so there were definitely two versions. I don't know if that was intentional or if there was like a first run that was like, well, the color's a little faded, whatever, we'll go with it. No idea. Okie dokie. So, almost forgot
We're
what
gonna.
kinds.
His,
That's
his
the awesomest comment.
his name is Head, by the way.
Head.
Head.
Nice. Alright, everybody. Hello and welcome to today's episode of H1Z1 Dead Feature Rant. On my screen left here is Tenma, who you've probably seen from other parts of the internet, EverQuest and Landmark Streaming and other episodes of Dead Feature Rant. You were on with Jimmy about a month or two ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Cool deal. And of course he was at SOE Live, so it was good hanging out. He was actually one of the people that was doing a really good job filming. Him and Nuber were doing a lot of filming of a lot of the panels that we were going to.
I didn't get to go to as many as I wanted to
Yeah.
because everything overlapped, and well, of course, Landmark was my thing, so that's the ones I kind of focused on.
Oh, Frosty Master, this isn't a WGN show. This is one of my normal talk shows. H1Z1 is a survival game from Sony Online Entertainment that's going to be starting early access on, what was that date he gave? August 47th? I don't think that's a real date.
I don't think that was.
September 21st? I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, continuing with the introductions here. On my screen right here, Domain Night is a fellow streamer who's getting back into the whole swing of things with streaming. So definitely give both of these awesome people a follow. You'll see their screen names scrolling by below. I'm just gonna go with DK for short because that's usually what I call you. So DK, what's up? What's good with you these days?
Not much. Just been trying to, like you said, get back into streaming. I'm switching from doing mainly YouTube to Twitch finally, and it's a learning curve. It really is.
It's definitely an interesting sort of experience, but I really like what we've got going on with Twitch. Being able to interact with the audience directly is a really nice feature. I've never, I guess, tried to do a stream on YouTube, so I guess you can live stream on YouTube, but I don't know how that all works.
Yeah, it's different though.
All right, so there was a lot of awesome stuff we saw from SOE Live. Now I'm just gonna kind of go over a quick list of some of the stuff from the keynote, and if I say anything that you want to comment on, feel free. If there's anything else you want to include, feel free. So first, they introduced that there is actually a game called Sturm und Drang. I probably butchered that. It was a World War II themed MMO first-person shooter that SOE wanted to make, but in the process, they realized there was some more tech that they wanted and some other stuff, so they decided, well, let's kind of mess around with this other thing. One thing led to another, and now they're making H1Z1. To me, it seems pretty interesting because the whole World War II shooter demographic, it seems like it's kind of dwindling or burnt out at this point. No, not really. Not by
No,
a
No.
long shot.
not
No.
really, but there is a lot of them out there. It is
Fair
a pretty
enough.
filled market.
They
Okay.
just suck. They just
Yeah.
suck.
Oh, okay. So, I guess it's kind of the same thing. It's with H1Z1. There's a lot of zombie games out there, but I would say that's definitely a sprawlingly rising demographic. It is just exploding right now. Um,
I
so
mean, you look back at games like me. I came from Call of Duty 5, and that right there, there's still people playing that game right now. And if there was ever any World War II game that was worth a poot that came out, yeah, it would survive.
okay.
So
Yeah, Frosty Master H1Z1 isn't in early access. There's a lot of live footage from SOE Live, though. A lot of people streamed it from the different stages that we had available, and I was able to even play for an hour, though.
I did this
I,
guy.
honestly, I gotta say it's not the best version of the client. I think the E3 version and the Block Party versions were a lot smoother, a lot better features, and most importantly, you could take off a weapon, so you weren't restricted to the +1 weapon that you find in the world. That was kind of the big. But we'll talk about that a little bit. Or actually, why don't you talk about? We'll just stay on the subject here, and we'll move along after. What was your experience with this client, and did you ever play H1Z1 before, or was this your first time with it?
That was my first time. That was the first time that I ever got on H1Z1, and I did it right there live streaming. And that was on that Sunday when everybody was in the brunch, and Sog was on one side of me. He was over there playing, and me and Spooty Man were on the other side, and we were just having a blast. We're like, "Where's he at? Where's he at? Let's find him. Let's go kill his." Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
I was about to say the A word, but um,
Kill his ass.
yeah, we want to kill his ass, but we couldn't find him. We couldn't find him, but I do have like a really interesting story on that whole thing because the first night we were there, and then I ran into Sog, and Sog was over playing on H1Z1 later, and I walked up there to talk to him because he was going to be streaming the same day I was. So I walked up there, and we started talking. We were thinking about doing something jointly in Landmark, and then he decided he was going to just do H1Z1, and but he was sitting there, he's drunk and going, "You want to take over my character?" He was just like totally poop faced. And he was like, "You want to take over my character? I got to get another drink." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." So I jumped up there, and then I noticed that his character's name was Sog. and and he walked off, and I'm like, he done effed up. He done effed up because I'm gonna run around and Sog. and 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 about the time I got on the keyboard, I spin my character around and I got three zombies on top of my head. And they kill me just like this. And so I have to respawn. I respawn and then I'm looking over the hill and I look down and there's this guy standing there. And he's like just kind of standing there. And I'm like, ooh, ooh. And I take his Sog's character and I run right up behind him and I just start whacking the crap out of the back of his head with that little hatchet that they gave you. And and I was like, "You just got pwned by Sock." He just yelled it out. And but yeah, that was some of my first experiences with H1Z1. It was a lot of fun. I mean, there was some little tinkering that needs to be done with the interaction with items. I did notice that.
Yeah, some of the
Um,
interactions are still slow and a little wonky at this
yeah,
point.
and you're having to mouse over, and and even if you mouse over, you don't know for sure if it was something that you needed to actually be able to click on or not. So, it was hard to get your mouse on exactly where you needed to click on stuff. Um, I did like the way the AI was working though, because there were some of them that would, I mean, they'd just ball out, just chugging at you. And then there was other ones that would just go, and then every once in a while you'd run into a bugged one where he was just standing there like this, and
Yeah.
wasn't moving at all.
Yep.
But other than that, I liked it. It was pretty cool.
Ah, cool
Moment of
deal.
silence.
So,
Moment of silence.
DK, I'm gonna pass it over to you. What was your experience with H1Z1? What did you see that you liked, and you know, differences or other things that you hadn't seen before? What? Tell me about kind of what you got to see there.
Well, the main thing from watching all the different people play, I did notice there was less features than what I saw when some of the people were playing with the devs. I'm guessing running as I run my own servers. I'm guessing the main reason for this is they were stress testing it. There was a lot of people playing, so they wanted a more stable version. They probably went back several versions back to something they knew was very stable. It was kind of a letdown though, because there was so much coming up to SOE. There was so many like things coming out, so many tweets and stuff of different features and stuff they were working
Right.
on, and then I didn't see them. I mainly saw people shooting people with arrows. I'm like, where is all this other stuff? And there wasn't much building. It was a lot of running around and shooting each other with arrows.
Yeah, not
So-
even driving. I mean, that was the thing. I understand why they did it, and I'm totally not going to argue with the decision, but they had all of the admin stuff, all the dev cheats and everything locked down and unavailable during the event there. So I actually wanted to, and this was my goal for the stream, was to do the opposite of what I've been doing, which was the kind of no cheats playthroughs, and instead go with a full cheats playthrough. Get a car, a bunch of ammo or whatever, and a gun, gasoline or whatever fuel I need, and just go hunting players and hunting whatever, and seeing what happens when you run the vehicle into a bear. Who wins that encounter? Because I don't know if they've even really tried that one that much. I'm sure someone does, but I don't know if the answer to that one is publicly available. So there were a lot of things that I really wanted to do that just weren't available because of the features being locked down. So I decided to just kind of go at it as it was, and try to play it and learn from my previous experiences, and add to it this time, and see what I could come up with. And turns out they turned up the spawn rate of items that you can collect in the world, like weapons and stuff like that. But unfortunately, there was a bug where you could not remove your primary or secondary or tertiary items. So you could use the hatchet, you could use the flashlight, or equip one more item, and that's all you would have until you delete the character and make a new one, basically.
We figured out you could drop the item and then pick it back up, and it would actually work.
Oh,
So
cool.
we worked our way around that.
Man, I wish I knew that.
Yeah,
Workarounds, just like in Landmark, always the workarounds.
yeah. You had to drag it from your slot down to the ground and then pick it back up, and it would put it back in your bag.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I saw a lot of weird things, like bears that were running way too fast. I'm like, a guy trying to run away. Who was it? I feel like maybe Burke or somebody was trying to run from a bear, and it was on him in 2 seconds. The thing was like a quarter mile away when it spotted him. I'm like, how
Yep.
fast is the bear going? It was like a car.
35.
It was speeding.
35 miles per hour.
Yep.
Satellizer jumped off a cliff, and the game just stayed there. It just
Yeah, he
Did not
found
go
the edge of the world. I remember hearing about that one. I need to go back and watch that clip.
Yeah, Code Carnage did it too.
Oh man.
The computer I got on to do my streaming, when we logged into the game, Code Carnage's character was still up there. I was like, ooh, we're gonna play as Co. And of course, when I logged in, his character was stuck at the edge of the world, and I was like, damn it. So,
That's funny. Oh man, yeah, so many
I'm
shenanigans.
sure they found a lot of bugs. It was just good. I mean, it's good for them, but it was funny. Bears getting stuck on cars, just clipping on them constantly.
Well, here's the thing though. These are the kind of bugs that a QA team is going to find within like an hour of play. The reason why we're not out there bug testing, we're just playing and enjoying in the state, because I mean this is all just low hanging fruit. They probably already know about it. If they don't, they'll fix it along the way anyway. It's really they just wanted us to be able to go out and play, and if we find some bugs, haha, that's funny. It's, they're not going to stop the show and kick us off or whatever and put up the technical difficulties sign. It is what it is. It's a game that's in development, and they really wanted us to be able to show that it's close, but it's still pretty far.
They had a lot of stuff turned off, and you could tell it. A lot.
Yeah, that's true. They did. The other thing for me, I really was kind of disappointed that it was all in perpetual snow mode no matter where you went, because the only color that you would get was basically when you're inside of a house shining a flashlight on something. Everything, during the night it's all black and white anyway, and then during the day, because there's all the snow everywhere, it's still just a whole bunch of black and white. Everything's all in, more or less grayscale. So yeah, that was something that I was kind of disappointed with, because it's a really beautiful game. The colors for it are just gorgeous if you can just get to watch the earlier gameplay and stuff. But in the state that we got to see it.
I mean, the last time I was on the show, the pictures that they kind of threw out there, for H1Z1, I mean, was phenomenal. But when we got into the game and everything was grayscale, I was like, seriously.
Yeah.
So that kind of very disappointed on that. I would have loved to have seen a more finished version.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely cut it way back. It was, I don't know. And our team's been going crazy since then, putting out stuff. Maybe they want people to know, hey, that's not what it really looks like. I don't know.
I thought it was a bad decision to give us that to stream with. They should have given us a little bit better version. But I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot more coming out.
Yeah. I hindsight being what it is, I'm sure if they anticipated those kind of issues being in the build, they would have had like one or two earlier builds at the ready just to load up and get going. But it's I don't know how much they keep that stuff around, or if they just replace all their earlier versions as quickly as possible. Yeah, I don't know. Just not having the snow, or having limited snow, would have probably made it a little bit better. Having, some area that's definitely snowing, and some area where it's definitely raining, and somewhere where it's definitely not. Just so players can get a little, kind of a slice of each in the broadcast. Because like I said, the only color I saw was when I was inside of a house shining a flashlight on a painting. That was pretty much it. That and items in the inventory.
It was kind of hard to tell the difference in between day and night with the grayscale. And also, I mean, a lot of the volume was not there, like fog and mist and all that kind of stuff. You didn't see any of that. I don't remember seeing any rain effects. All that was not there. So you could definitely tell it was missing a lot from what they're actually going to be releasing.
Right.
It just there was a lot just not right yet. I don't know. It kind of let down.
Well, it's still got a ways to go. I mean, this is they're still showing us something that's earlier than what they actually want us to be able to play. So the fact that we actually get the privilege to play it here and there at the different events, it's really nice. And I know this definitely isn't the version everybody was hoping or expecting, but it did have a lot of stuff that I was looking to see. I saw some of the apartments and the more industrial looking buildings that I hadn't seen before, so I was really happy about that.
Yeah. I saw a gas station that looked pretty pimp.
Did you try breaking the glass?
Nah, I didn't try.
That's the
I was too busy trying to rob the cars.
gotcha. To me, that's like the one thing you do if you want to mark your territory, as it were. You go to an area where there's glass and you just break the windows. So that way another player comes through and they know, okay, it hasn't been long enough for the windows and everything to respawn in the area. Somebody's been here recently.
I didn't think about that.
I didn't either.
I'm gonna have to do that now.
It's like that. If there's any static barricades that will, you can break them down but can potentially respawn, like fences. I was able to bust down wood fences just fine. So that's another thing you can do, like just break up every other fence in a little row. So when people come by, it's like, oh, somebody's totally been here, and just smash these up to be a jerk. And you get materials for it, so no reason not to. Except
So
that
what
it's
el- what el-
loud.
What else did you pull from the keynote?
Okie dokie. So Steve George, he introduced the team, the saying that this early access really is quicker and earlier than they've tried to do with any game before. Now, PlanetSide 2, they gave it to us kind of early, but it was within 6 months. Landmark, we're already well over 6 months, and from alpha to where we're at in closed beta, and it seems like we've got at least another month or two to go before it would go to open beta. But because of the wipe and everything, open beta is basically going to be a soft launch, so kind of an interesting thing going on there. And they're saying this is going to be the earliest they've ever gotten us access to a game, the earliest they've gotten us in. So, what do you guys think about that? That's I guess pretty bold of them to be pushing it further and further in the earlier parts of development.
Well, it goes both ways. I mean, there's tons of people. Someone just said it before. I want to play it now. I don't care what it's like. And there's probably a lot of people like that. They just want to play it. They don't care what the game's like. But you know what? I constantly download alpha games. I love testing alpha games. I know, Nero, you do all the time too.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes, I got one the other day. RPG. What is it's brand new? RPG something or other. RPG Town or something. And it's so early that you can't actually do anything. You literally build 2 buildings and then sit there, twiddle your thumbs. I was like, this is stupid, and you don't want it that early. You don't want it that early where now everybody's thrown off and hates it and says this is stupid.
Right.
Just take what Gary did with Rust. Way too early. He's admitted it on his own blogs. He said, oh, we got to go back, rewrite a brand new code, do this, do that, and basically he's making a whole new game. So now everybody's like, what the hell is the new game going to be like? And he's not going to release it until he feels it's proper. That's not what he did with the first Rust. He basically released a Lincoln log set on an open map and nothing else. With a lot of problems. DayZ, same thing. I mean, the zombies in that game walk right by you sometimes without even detecting you. Hey, there goes a zombie.
Yep.
It's not what you want. You don't want to watch a zombie walk through a wall and then just keep going and going and going.
It's even worse when they're walking backwards.
Nice.
Doing the moonwalk on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's one of the reasons, though, that they have delayed early access so much, is they don't want that. They want a vertical slice of completed features and gameplay. Not the full picture in an early unfinished state, but a little slice of the picture in a very complete and refined state.
Well, the way I'm kind of looking at it is like this. I'd rather for them to take the initiative before releasing it to alpha and get the base systems halfway done, at least. And then release it to alpha, get the feedback from the players, take the alpha and go ahead and complete the base engines. Then you push it into beta, and then from beta, you do the refinement. Okay, we need a little tweak here. We need a little tweak there. That's where I see beta. But as for alpha, is the completion of the engines. But you should have at least the base part of the engines into play. You know, with like Landmark, that's pretty much halfway what they did, but they pushed it out of alpha way too early. At least that's my 2 cents.
Fair enough. And they learn with every game, so that's always a nice thing. I know it's slightly different teams and slightly different people making the decisions, but I guess that's the other interesting thing is when you think about it, the CEO is also one of the major, I guess, producers or whatever on H1Z1, which makes it really interesting. It kind of means that it is the company's focus right now. I mean, obviously EverQuest next in Landmark because EverQuest is their franchise series, or their flagship franchise rather. But they're really happy about H1Z1, I think, and it seems like it's going to be progressing pretty well as they continue along here. So
I was kind of shocked at SOE Live that they pushed H1Z1 to the front of the pack over EverQuest Next. I mean, literally, they pushed it right to the head of the pack. I guess it's because it's the next one that's going to be released, so they want it to be big. But that's the way it felt when I was there at SOE Live.
Oh yeah, everything was zombie themed, the zombie prom party and pool party, rather than doing the what they used to do was the kind of, I guess, general whatever themed thing for the pool party. So they definitely put a theme to it. There was also the themed drink they had at the party, the Apocalypse, which I think I had one. I don't remember. It was probably some. Not that I forgot things from the event so much as I believe I consumed one and it was just kind of meh, whatever, not very memorable to me. But I had free tickets for everything, so whatever. That was a nice thing. People hooked me up with a bunch of drink tickets.
Well, see, I was supposed to drink a beer with you there, Neuro, and you vanished on me over and over again. I'm like, okay, dude. But I went the whole entire time without drinking anything. But I had promised you I would, but you disappeared on me.
We'll definitely have to get a drinking
maybe next year
drinking and meeting schedule because I brought like 3 gallons of homebrew triple that I meant for people to enjoy, but I ended up bringing back 2.5 gallons of it.
Wow, dude.
Later, Tanlin. Yeah, so that it is what it is. It's just it was hard to schedule around all of that stuff, and I didn't really get a chance to figure out when he was doing his little private party. So that was where I was intending for most of it to be consumed because I know he loves triple. Him and Adam Clegg. A lot of the former PlanetSide 2 team, which I guess most of them are H1Z1 now. That was another interesting thing. Pretty much the entire H1Z1 team, or at least the people they had on stage, just about all of them were on PlanetSide 2. So,
I when I was in one of the airports, I found this T-shirt, and it said "Stay calm and zombie on." I gave that to Adam Clegg as soon as I saw him. I was like, man, that's perfect for him, And I saw him. I was like, here. He was like, that's for me. I'm like, yeah. He kind of looked at me like I had lost my mind or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point, Serial. SOE Live, the year of EverQuest, now H1Z1. Yeah, I that was definitely kind of an interesting curveball for things, but whatever. Still the year of it's the year of EverQuest all year. This is just one SOE Live for H1Z1.
Yep.
So
actually, Serial mentioned something some other people had said to me once before about why are they using Steam Early Access. There was a tweet that I think it might have been from Clegg, where he said the reason they're going with Steam Early Access is because they've seen all the all that it's become. Because I mean, it's only been out Early Access with Steam's a year and a half, maybe, and it's become huge. It's become very, very big. All your major developers are doing it, and they want to participate in the in that. I mean, it's such a great project that they're doing with that. So that's why they want to do that.
I hate Steam. I hate Steam with passion.
really,
And if the game is good, I can assure you, it doesn't matter what platform you put it on, they will come.
I'm sure Amazon. I'm sure Amazon will buy Steam next.
I don't know. Valve, it's pretty tough nut to crack there. I think it's there's a high amount
Valve's,
of like
what is Valve? 20, almost 20 years now. Valve.
something like that. I believe they're more of like a heavily worker-owned sort of thing. So if they were going to be bought out, it would be a group decision. I don't know if everybody would be into that sort of thing. They've already got their own content service, providing system coming along, especially with the Steam box and what that's going to be able to bring to the table. So it seems like they're actually going to be pretty fiercely competitive with one another. Or buddies. I don't know. Business isn't my my side of things there. Oh, speaking of business, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, Amazon did actually buy out Twitch, so hello, Amazon. I don't know. So the other thing that was kind of interesting from the keynote is the idea that they're establishing the tech now to make it easier to add content and features rather than having to rework things as it goes along. And I kind of wish they had done that with PlanetSide 2 and kind of held off on things a little bit because, years into the game now, we still can't take our vehicle from one continent to another. We still can't, switch out the arsenal on our vehicle without destroying or abandoning our own one and getting a new one going. There's a lot of other features that I think we would want to have and they would want to have, but they didn't do all the back end stuff to make it possible. So continuing to build and develop on a system that isn't ideal, basically it's something that kind of creates a regrettable situation down the road. So I'm actually glad that they're taking their time and really making sure they're tight with their tech and their processes, so that way they they know absolutely for sure how long it's going to take to put in a certain feature, know exactly all the steps and be able to do it immediately, rather than having the the hurdles of like a year or two down the road. Yeah, no, we still can't put in another fence until we entirely rework all of our fence building and construction code. So I'm fine that they're taking their time with it. What do you guys think about that?
I like them taking their time, but it means a better product when they do release it.
Yeah, I have to agree. Pretty much summed it up there.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. It's August 47th was what we were quoted from the I think he's the executive producer on the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, August 47th is it. Sorry, I don't have a better date.
Well, for those that wants to see what we played, it is not where they're at in development yet, but I can show you what we have. And is it okay if I post this link?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, there we go. That was from my stream on that Sunday. It's not that long, because I spent most of my time on the on Landmark anyway. So
and playing other people's characters.
Yeah.
yeah,
Establishing rivalries for SOG.
PK for the win, baby! Wah!
No, lawless guy. It's not an actual confirmation of a date. He literally said August 47th. That's what we got from the keynote. Take it or leave it. What they've really said is it's not a matter of a specific day. The reason why early access hasn't come yet is because it's just not feature complete. They want to have it feature complete for the vertical slice of gameplay we're going to have available, and no sooner. And I totally agree with it. There's plenty of other zombie survival games we can play and be mad at, and not have H1Z1 be one of them.
The key to it is don't listen to any date they put out.
Any date
until you actually see it on Steam.
Yeah, they'll probably just they'll probably just be like, "Oh, this seems like a good point," and they release it the next day, no warning.
Yeah. All right. So they've said with what their goal is to make the game easy to access, easy to learn, and have the decision making really be the big challenge for players. I like that. I play games like FTL. I know you do as well, DK.
Yes.
Roguelikes and that sort of game. Those sorts of games. That's really the sort of stuff I enjoy. So having it be something where it's not so much like having to learn your equipment and be good with it. It's not a matter of having to learn the crafting system and not knowing what everything is, like with Sword of the Stars, for example. Instead, it's just a matter of making those decisions. It's okay, I can either go here and take my chances, or I can stay where I'm at, or I can go to back to where I know there's some shelter or whatever and try to get some more supplies. And what you do and how you go about the challenges you come across along the way, that's what makes the game interesting. So what do you guys think about that sort of angle? That's essentially the idea they want to have for it, that it's not struggling with your gear or struggling with the systems. It's just you making decisions and trying to act on them.
I can definitely see, like, I was thinking about this the other day with the Screecher. So I guess what they're trying to say is, like, you're not going to have any kind of special weapon or something to use on the Screecher to stop them. Mainly, you got to decide, are you going to pop it in the head, run, or hide? Which is the best strategy to use when all of a sudden you see that Screecher coming, because if it yells, you're going to have a horde on you. And, a few hits from a zombie, you're dead. So a horde's not a fun thing. So I picture that being, about that, before you were saying break the windows, but maybe if there's too many zombies close by, breaking the windows might not be a good idea, So there could be, I could definitely see how that can play out if they're going to focus on your decisions.
Absolutely. Tenman, did you have any thoughts on the subject?
Not off the top of my head.
Nope.
I was too busy in chat to even hear that conversation.
It was
I saw it.
on the
Y'all saw that, right?
yeah. No, it's on the subject of
Sorry.
decision making being the main focus of gameplay rather than trying to learn everything.
Well, that should be a big part of a game anyway, is decision making. It's just like poker. You got to make a decision. What card are you going to put down? Which one are you going to swap out? So
Exactly.
in that same fashion, to make a game really good, you've got to make the person think at least a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up poker. I think of just not even what's in your hand and what's in the other person's hand. You throw out like a 3 times the pot bet. You're basically pointing a loaded gun at everybody, and it's up to them whether they respond or pull out a bigger gun, and things escalate.
Well, see, the one thing I do like about the way the game is you don't know what they have.
Right.
You don't know if they just died and have nothing but a hatchet, or maybe they have a sawed-off shotgun and have enough ammo to defend themselves for a week. You don't know. I mean, that's the one thing about the game right now that is pretty awesome. Everybody looks the same.
I'm wondering if that's something that they're actually going to try to build towards, though, is being able to at least show your primary, secondary, and tertiary item on your person, so that way you can at least see when somebody does have a shotgun or whatever weapon.
Nah.
A shotgun seems like something you're pretty much holding in your hands if you've got one around. So
Yeah. There's
But
certain
it would
things.
be awesome.
Your armor. If you're wearing Kevlar, I think you can tell you're wearing Kevlar over cloth.
yeah, well, it's going to be bulky.
There's certain things. I hope there are other models, that you can choose from for people too, because, even if it's just, bigger, taller, fatter, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know
Well.
everybody looks the same and drives me crazy.
What you did see what they gave us for the loot card, right?
Yep.
For H1Z1.
Yeah, the H1Z1 beanie.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
giving us a beanie.
Yep. So you can look different every time. Also got the morning wood, the nail
Show
bat.
this.
Um, yeah.
It's gonna look like the one that Neuro's wearing right now.
Yep. This one
inside
right
the
here.
game.
The morning wood nail bat. So the way that's gonna work, it's not a pay to win thing where you start with the nail bat. It's just if you make a nail bat, you can use the morning wood model for it rather than the basic one. That's it.
Did
That
you say
name.
Morning Wood?
That's the name
Did you
of
say-
it. That's
Did
the
you
name
say
of
Morning
the.
Wood?
That's the name of the baseball bat. It's MOURNING. But yes, morning wood. That was the one you could get from the SOE
I
digital
heard-
pass.
When I heard that, I had to rewind the video. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie.
You run around yelling at people. I just hit you with my morning wood.
All right, we're gonna have to take a pause for a second here. We can't play the game because it's still not in alpha. It's not in alpha. We can't play the
Sorry.
game.
So this is a conversation.
Yeah, I guess I need to make it clearer than current phase awaiting early access.
We got to play the game at SOE Live, and nobody else could play. Thus, after.
Cody, I'm sure that was a name they came to during the course of a meeting. Like, one person might have come up with it, but it was multiple people who worked together to come to that specific name. So, yeah, I would say it was just off the top of my head. It was probably Clegg. He has that kind of a sense of humor. I could see him being the one who suggested that, but there's a lot of people with a lot of interesting senses of humor. Speaking of Adam Clegg, if you want to troll him, make a character named Douchebag69, because apparently that's the character that he called out for. If he was gonna, if you want to have a character with a bad reputation, going around being Douchebag69 or whatever, that's.
Adam Clegg was awesome, by the
He
way.
is.
We sit there on this. It was like the hallway that you went back to where all the different panels were. We crashed there on the freaking couch down on that little pathway or whatever, and we just sit there and shot the shit for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
He was a really cool guy. Really cool guy.
Yeah, Adam Clegg's great. I really enjoy hanging out with him. He's real cool dude for sure. Good taste in beer too. So. Yeah. So they talked about a recycling system. They said they want the recycling system to be a good thing, to be a worthwhile thing. That you're not, smashing and exploding everything that you totally don't need. What do you guys think of that? Because I like it. I like the idea that you can be a salvager in every way, building things up and breaking things down.
Well, it's kind of realistic on real life. I mean, you got to think, if we took your butt and threw you out into the street with nothing, and there was nobody around for miles and miles around, how would you survive?
You'd have to break stuff
You'd
down.
You'd figure something out.
Yep.
You'd go into houses and rob the food and stuff, and that's the way I kind of look at it. I mean, you'd have to figure out some way of living, and that's basically the way they've tried to set up the game. Is just like that.
I'd open up a blacksmith.
And that's actually the sort of thing I bet people will actually be able to do successfully in the game, is set up a shop where it's heavily defended, but if you need to go and, buy and sell stuff or have your equipment repaired or whatever because you've got, two parts of what used to be a working gun, having that as an option be a pretty cool thing. Obviously bandits are always going to be attacking it. Aragon
I'm
500 there, I'm sure will be like chucking rocks from a distance with the sling or whatever.
I think it would be interesting if they actually had it in game where you could choose a profession of some sort, and they'd have like hundreds of professions that you could just randomly be. Like one day you're a doctor, the next day you're a carpenter, the next day, depending on how often you die, every character would come out differently. I think it would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I've talked about that. That was actually one of my earlier live feature rant things, and I talked about it with them on the 12-hour thing. Maybe not necessarily during the 12-hour stream, but talking to people that day about it. And they came up with the idea that they don't want people to regret the decision they've made. That they don't want somebody to, go out in the world after having made these decisions and then find out that their character is an inferior build, or the min-maxers or whatever, or maybe they just don't like what it comes with, so they just go and kill their character. And that's actually what they said they don't want to have, is people just recklessly killing their character just because they made a decision that they're not happy with.
Well, you take the decision away from them. You get a random job.
Yeah, well, no, that's
you don't have that.
well, no, that's what they would do, is people would just go and kill themselves and try to get a different job.
But it would be funny if all of a sudden you come in and you become a gynecologist, and all of a
Well, that
sudden
would be funny, yes.
you have this badass ability to be able to throw organs at 100 feet or something. I don't know.
What the hell?
It's just, it has this awesome skill that you don't know about.
Okay, the way you describe that, I imagine people at like a fish market, throwing the fish, 20, 30 feet or whatever, and catching it in the newspaper. I imagine that, except organs. That's the visual that came to mind.
Why are y'all people even listening to what we saying? We have told you 5 times. We played it at SOE Live. There, on their computers, not ours. The game is not released.
Yeah.
So nobody can play it right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Not saying it again.
Trust me, we'd be playing it if we had a copy.
Yeah, Happy Hansel, I agree. Tenma would be a terrible gynecologist. Yes.
But it's
I understand the point that you're making. Yeah. Our characters start basically, I've been using the descriptor James Bond MacGyver. You start, with the ability to use any item proficiently, to be able to construct perfect versions of things from imperfect equipment and imperfect tools. So Zube, you dick. That's the thing I've been saying with the characters is it's basically you start with a very proficient, very fit character that is very capable, and you just have to kind of find your way from there. If you want to specialize and be a mountain man living on your own, you're going to collect the items that will help you make traps and lean-to shelters and that sort of stuff to be able to survive in the wild just fine, doing very minimal impact, low heat sort of things, and running from bears if you find a bear.
You ain't running from that thing, buddy.
Well, no, the idea is that they said the first thing you should do when you see a bear is break line of sight and then make some distance. So that's basically the goal. If you can creep behind something and then kind of creep away from there, that's the best bet for dealing with a bear. Just let it have the rabbit. That's fine. You can get another. And I'm sure they'll smash open traps and eat whatever's inside if they're hungry. So, plan to build more traps. But that's a specialization thing. Likewise, if you've got a group of people that are trying to build up their own civilization, they're going to be going and hacking up cars that they find everywhere, getting the metal bits off of them, and trying to melt those down into sheet metal that they'll be able to use to build up a the ground temper and all the stuff they need to have their own little infrastructure in the world. So it's really, once again, that whole decision making thing that they've been talking about. Being able to decide that this is my build, this is my goal, this is what I'm going to do in the game, versus just wandering around aimlessly, picking up every random thing you find and then trying to find a use for it or chuck it, which I think a lot of people are going to be doing for a while. So. So they said they want to really release more of an early kind of vanilla version of the game before getting all the features in. If we need fancy UI features to know what's going on, they'll build up to that and eventually put them in throughout the process of early access and alpha. But at this point, they're going to give us the most stripped down, featureless version to see what we can do with it, how we go with it, if we can learn from it, if we can do what we need to do, or if there's more stuff that we